So just let me take this a step further now, right? Because I want to tell you of a personality of someone who has woken up. Someone who is, say, on level 3 at this state of mind. How this person will think and what they'll do in the world. So this is the true personality. This is of, you know, when Jesus walked the world 2,000 years ago, this was his personality. Only it's a little bit better than this. Do you know? So, the first one is, you know, we had trust here. So the first one here is trust. Trust really means, do I trust God or do I trust the ego? Okay? If I put my trust in the ego, which we have all done and maybe still do, I will suffer because of that trust. If I put my trust in God, the result will be the end of suffering. So what is it that we must trust? Tell me. Do we trust God?
Yes.
Who said that?
No.
Do
I'm
you-
suffering, I can't trust God.
How can you trust God? Does there anybody in here trust God?
Yeah, but all the thoughts are working.
Do you know God?
Hmm?
Do you know God?
I feel the God in me, I don't know.
But do you know God? Honestly, had you an experience where you know God? Not an intellectual, not a feeling that you should because it's right or it's the right thing to do. Do you know God?
I feel in moments, and just when I take time out of myself, I just...
Right, you can go into that energy in that space and you have that kind of inner knowing.
I have a connection, yeah.
Yeah, okay. You see, remember, you can only trust what you know. Okay? So in A Course in Miracles, as someone who's woken up, when Jesus was here, this is what he did. When he trusted and what you're asked to do, and this is the only thing that you're asked to do. Okay? To put your trust into God is to apply forgiveness. Because it's forgiveness that's going to bring you to knowing God. Okay?
Sorry?
It's forgiveness that's going to bring you to know God. So, when I see someone attacking me, when I justify others' bad behavior, I am putting my trust in the ego. When I seek outside myself for love, for joy, for peace, I'm putting my trust in the ego. Therefore, as long as I'm applying forgiveness, I'm putting my trust in God. And that trust will be repaid. That is guaranteed. Okay?
Do I forgive the other person, or do I work on my...
It's impossible that you can forgive anybody else. You can only forgive yourself. And we're going to do this after the break. Okay? We're going to go through that very step because we did the teacher's course last week. And some people thought they knew what forgiveness was. But as it turned out, a lot of people thought they knew they were doing forgiveness, but they weren't doing forgiveness. So they kind of fallen into a few ego traps, and we'll discuss that afterwards. All right, so you can see now, all right, this is not about behavior. Okay, this is about what you think. Because you can deceive anybody, right? By your actions, by your words, by your deeds. But it's up here that we almost start, because when you are trusting up here, then, you, like Marie said here the last time, you don't need to trust anybody. If I put my trust in you, I'm putting you under an obligation. I'm putting you, now I'm dependent, because I'm giving you something and I'm saying, I'm giving you this and I'm dependent on you. Now, what's really happening is I can never trust you now. How can I trust you? I put my trust in you. It's a setup to put your trust into someone else, because you're just waiting for them to let you down. And now you're justified in attacking that person and saying, I trusted you. It's a setup.
Yeah.
Okay? So the next one is honesty. Come back to the shop. Alright? The person's seen me doing an honest deed. You could say, you know, people who have 100 or 200 million. Alright? And they're giving 100,000 here, and they're giving $1 million here, and they're giving $1 million there, and everything. And everybody's saying, oh, look at that. You know, that's a real honest person there. You know what they're doing. You know, where did they get the 200 million to start with? You know, I'm thinking about Dennis O'Brien here. Don't sue me, Dennis. You know. So what does it mean to be honest?
You do the Dennis O'Brien?
No.
To be honest with yourself.
Forgiveness.
Huh? Right. Honesty in the Course is not what we think it would be. It's not about behavior or words. It refers to what you think. It's the consistency of what you think. All right? So to be honest in the Course is this. If I'm blaming you for hurting me, I'm being dishonest. Okay? If I'm blaming anybody for anything to do with me, I'm being dishonest. If I'm rationalizing my feelings, and a rationalization is where you blame someone outside yourself for how you feel. You're saying, you did this to me, you've hurt me. Okay? I'm being dishonest. Okay? If I'm intellectualizing your behavior, I'm being dishonest. If I'm seeing differences with people, if I see someone I like and someone I don't like, I'm being dishonest. You know? So we're all being dishonest by what we think. Honesty means, if you're being honest, what are you doing?
Taking responsibility.
Only the truly honest apply forgiveness. And only forgiveness will make you truly honest. Everything else doesn't matter. Okay? Because in this separated self here, right, what we see as honesty is only what we see with our eyes. We only see what we want to see. So that means we're always seeing both the persona and the shadow. So we're seeing honest people. As long as you see honest people by their actions or by their deeds, you're going to see dishonest people. Isn't that right? Okay? But we don't know truly if someone's honest because true honesty comes from that person's thinking. So you can see now, there'll be a lot of these we're going to score off. Okay? So if you want to lead an honest life, as I said in the email, alright, then you must start applying forgiveness. Because forgiveness is totally unconditional. It's the same for everybody. That's what it means to be honest.
Say that again.
It's unconditional forgiveness. It's true honesty. There's not a more honest thing that you can do in this world. It's the only one illusion that undoes all other illusions.
Unconditional forgiveness.
It's totally unconditional. It's love. Tolerance. Okay, I think tolerance was in here somewhere. All right. The world thinks of tolerance, right? That's a very tolerant person. All right. It means you're putting up with a lot of shit. All right. You can sit there. All right. And you can sit through someone berating you or giving out to you or whatever, and you sit there. What are you really doing?
What's not what?
What are you really? What is the biggest ego defense you're using here? You know this word.
For me.
You're compromising.
Yes.
What?
You're using the ego's tools, passive aggressive. Inside you want to kill this person, you want to tell them to F off, you want to say so much to them. But because you're a good person, you want to be seen, you want to be liked, and everything else, you're going to sit there and you're going to really just keep it all inside. You know? And then you'll go out then and you will project that onto a less threatening individual. It could be, you could go out and roar at the moon, you could kick the dog, you could kick a door, you could do all of these things because what's inside, you're bottling it up inside. You're not being honest, are you?
So seeing somebody with all those traits is making judgments on them?
Of course. They're all, you can't make them without judgment. But judgment's not the problem. You know, the separated self is the problem at that level. You know?
They're just states.
Yes, exactly. But if you didn't have judgment, you know, this here is living life without judgment.
If you're genuinely trying to, like it might be a bit obnoxious, but you're genuinely trying to not judge them.
You can't, you're going on a losing battle then because you're already in a thought system that's surrounded with judgments. You know?
Discernment, though.
Huh?
Discernment.
What is discernment? The world's form of discernment. You see, true discernment would be, all right, am I going to apply forgiveness or not? That's the only discernment there is. Everything else, you're discerning between the persona and the shadow. The people that I really love and the people I really hate. You're always separating outside yourself.
I would use discernment in terms of they're kind of going through that. I just won't hang out with them for the time being.
Right. Yeah, but what are you doing?
It's a boundary.
You know, you're discerning your shadow away from you. You know,
But you're not judging it to be bad or good.
Of course you are. You're kind of saying, I'm not going to hang out with them. If they really made you really feel wonderful and made you feel full of yourself, you would want to hang out with them. Yeah? So that's your persona, attracted to the persona. But all of a sudden, they're pissing you off a little bit, so you want to, you know, there's a part of you pissing you off inside. We project that out, and we get other people to piss us off.
So if I see someone out there and I'm saying, oh, they've no boundaries, or and I've got, you know, something in relation, then it's because I have.
I've no boundaries. Everything you see will reflect how you think and feel about yourself.
Yeah.
Everything. There's no exceptions in this. There's no exemptions in this. And like I say, discernment is another form of judgment.
Say, like it comes up, like say I'm in the midst of like setting up my own business, and say like with my dad, I totally know that, you know, I am his daughter, like we share that masculine energy, for sure. And like there's certain things that he's like, oh, I don't know about that. And on purpose, just like I know my fears are his, and I'm working on my own.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of leave him to it, because I can't control anything that's going on with him. But I'm taking the time to work on my own and strengthening it from the inside. So for me, that's discernment.
Well, would you? Of course it's discernment. But what are you really doing?
Taking responsibility for my fears.
Yeah, but what you're trying to do is make a better persona. Whatever way you want to wrap it up. You know, I know, but listen, I know what you're doing, I know what you're saying, I know what you're trying to do, but this is what we do with the persona.
But is it not like, I'm taking that responsibility because, you know, I need to get on with my life and, you know, set something
Right.
up.
But if you really need to get on with your life, then what you really need to do is look at everything, all right, that you don't want to look at. This is where the paradox is in this.
Isn't that where I'm looking at the fear? That's what I don't want, but I'm like, okay, I'll deal with it.
Yeah, but you can't do this within yourself. This is all around you. We can't sit and just deal with this, close your eyes and do a meditation and try to come to terms. We actually have to practice this in the people, and that means the person that pisses you off the most is the person you must love the most.
Oh, I still love him.
But, go on, but
on a day where I know where I'm a little bit sensitive, I know that it's not going to do
But you see, the reason you're that sensitive is because you're in total denial of this part of yourself. You see, this is, yeah, of course. I mean, this is where true discernment comes in. You must discern now that everything that you see and everybody that pisses you off is you. It's not them.
That much I know.
Yes. Well, then that's only one part of it.
So do I need to go over and just hang out with him
No,
until it's gone
no.
and be? Like, that's what I'm saying.
No,
Like, where does the...
Yes, we're going to do this after the break then, like, rolling this now?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like you says, how do you transcend this?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do that after the break. But really what we're doing here, right, is getting to be when you're waking up, when you're totally free, okay, when you see everybody, right, this is how you're going to think of your day. So tolerance here is not putting up with people, okay, because again you're using judgments. Jesus used tolerance as the absence of judgment. He was tolerant of everybody, the absence of judgment. He was tolerant of everybody because he judged no one.
It's a funny because he wasn't split.
Exactly.
It just wasn't split.
When you're intolerant,
But
you're in judgment.
intolerant is a strange word. It's
But
really a separate, creating separate.
But these are the characteristics of the advanced teacher of God. I didn't pick them, so I have to just use them. All right, so if you read the advanced teacher of God in the Course in Miracles, these are the characteristics.
What's the advanced teacher of God?
This,
No, but what? Where's it from?
where?
Yeah.
That would be the level 3 he was talking about,
Okay.
where the mind's not split. Okay.
Michael, you know in the Bible where it says about Jesus and he hung out with unsavory characters as well as...
Of course.
And isn't that what you're speaking
Exactly.
like? It's the shadow.
Yes, of course. He was a demonstration. I mean, the time he was asked to go to the feast, he sat with all the murderers, the tax collectors, and all of these prostitutes, and thieves and all this. And he was told, right, you can't sit here. People are going to, you know, think bad of you and all of that. Like, but he did it deliberately. You know, he didn't have a shadow. He didn't have a persona.
Sorry. When he cleared the temple, was he making a judgment there?
Huh?
When he cleared the temple, no.
He did that deliberately. He wanted to piss them off because he wanted to demonstrate, right, that he wasn't a body, that he could come back. So he pissed them off deliberately because they hit them where it hurt most was in the pocket. All right? Because they told, they went up, or what's not written in the Bible, they went up and told people not to pay for the Word of God. At that time, you know, the people were paying 25% tax to Rome, and they were paying 30% tax to the church. Okay? And all the church leaders were living in their big mansions and palaces and everything. So when he did that, he went up and he told the people, give Caesar what's due unto Caesar, which meant pay your tax to Rome. But he says, give God what's due unto God. And he walked out. And everybody followed him. And that's why all the thousands were on the mountainside. They all followed him there. Nobody paid their tax.
But he was trying to piss them off. Should he not be loving them most?
But he was there. It was no. You see, his script called for him to be crucified at the end of the day. He didn't do it in a malicious way, in such a way. He needed to be crucified because it was the greatest demonstration that he wasn't a body.
We all try to piss people
But the
off.
course says it's the last useless journey.
Of course, of course. And he also says in the course that my demonstration was extreme, and you're not asked. You know, when he was being crucified, he still loved them. He loved them all. So that answers your question about the temple life. You know, he was getting nails hammered into him and everything, and he still loved them. Like, Father, forgive them, they know not what to do.
Because we're not here.
Exactly. So tolerance here, right, means to be without judgment. And when you're on level 3 here, all right, you can't be on level 3 because this is the world of judgment. This is non-judgment, and this is without judgment. What takes you to a state of being non-judgment, as we already talked about before, was not seeking outside yourself. This takes you back into this mind here. Okay? So we come down this state, and we go back up this state. Okay? So this is non-judgment. This is judgment, because we need it. There's nothing wrong with judgment. You know, don't crucify yourself if you find yourself being judgmental. It just means, the first thing that should shout to you, I'm seeking for something outside myself. Because this is the mind, even though the mind's split. And here's the one mind. Okay? And this is the body, the world. Okay? So every time that you're seeking outside yourself, okay, you come from here. You go into this separated self that we're talking about. You know. So, here.
And sometimes being both mind, you know, you can admire something and despise it.
No.
No, I mean, you can justify that.
Of
Admire
course.
something and despise it in someone.
You can't ride 2 horses at the same time. Okay? Right. So, what's going to take you in? Right, I want to be hardworking. Fine. Here. You're outside. I want to be seen to be hardworking. I want to be honest. I want to be trusted. All of these things, persona, right? All of these things that looks good to live in society, take you outside yourself, and now you're in the world of judgment. These are the effects. These are the desires. This takes you from here into here. And now you're going to suffer for that. Because there's no one here in this world, in the separated self, who's not suffering. They might deny that suffering for many years, but that will, the shadow will overtake them at some stage in their lives. Okay? So tolerance. Be without judgment. Gentleness. Alright? So what you do is, right, if you want to be tolerant, if you want to be without judgment, the one thing that you should be doing every day is applying forgiveness. Because that will bring you to the state of being without judgment. Because it takes you from here to here. That's what forgiveness does. Every time you apply forgiveness, it takes you out of this mind, it takes you into this mind spirit. It takes you into that state of being non-judgmental. And when you basically are at this state and you seek nothing, there's nothing ever more that you seek outside yourself, meaning your persona, you'll go to here. That's how you transcend growth. Okay, that's the power of forgiveness here. It takes you from here into the right mind of spirit. Problem is that then there might be something else you're seeking and you go back again. Well, the way it works is you go over here and you're back. And you go up here, back here. So it should be telling you now, the world, the body, judgment, all of these now, see them as a positive waste, because you should first be saying to you, you know, what am I seeking here? You can only be angry with anybody if you're seeking something from them. It's possible that you can be angry with anybody if you're not seeking anything from them. It's impossible. And I remember I told you this story about the lady rang me up and she had a terrible row with her husband all weekend. You know, and we went back to the source of it. You know, and you know what she was looking for? Respect. You know, and it caused so much trouble the whole weekend. And that's what the cause of it. She was seeking something. She didn't need his respect because she wasn't respecting herself.
So you can only be angry with something if you want something.
Exactly.
And presumably whatever that it is that you want is irrelevant.
Of course.
Yeah, it's just that you want something, whether
Do
it's
you think you want something?
whether it's
Because I think
love or
you're
respect
Exactly.
or money or
Yes.
anything.
Yeah.
But-
So we
Yeah.
move to the next one, gentleness.
Yeah.
All right. So we could see, you know, maybe walking in the park, we could see, you know, a father or a mother with a little child and being all playful and everything. You see that person so gentle. You know, again, our eyes are deceiving us. That person could go home and could be the most hateful person there is. But because we see this, we're adapting that. That's what we want to see. We want to see these gentle aspirations in other people, attributes and traits, and because we want to adopt them. It's all set up. You know, because everybody that you see gentle, there's someone, okay, that you are going to experience who's not been very gentle. So, gentleness here means the first paragraph of this section does not actually talk about gentleness, it talks about harm. Okay? So how can you cause harm to someone?
Judgment.
No, again, judgment's effect. Judgment's not the problem here.
Give them a blow.
Huh? When you see someone and you justify their bad behavior, you're causing yourself harm because you're causing that person harm.
So, yeah,
Could you say that again?
When you see someone's bad behavior and you're justifying their bad behavior,
You're justifying yourself.
no, you're justifying the bad behavior in yourself. You're causing yourself harm. Because you're saying that the bad behavior is in this person. You're disassociating, you're denying that this is your bad behavior that you're projecting out. It's going to cause you harm. You are going to suffer. Every time you deny what's truly outside yourself, you're going to suffer.
And if you justify bad behaviour, like, oh, this has happened to them, or they're in a bad
Of course.
space.
Yeah, exactly. And what we do is the people closest to us, we rationalise their behaviour more than anybody else.
That sounds more like tolerance, where you're rationalising
Of
something's
course,
behaviour.
of course.
So they're saying it's following
To be truly gentle is to apply forgiveness at all times. Not some of the time, all the times with everybody. If you're not applying forgiveness, you're causing yourself a lot of harm and you will get sick. You'll
Every
get very
time
sick.
that you feel irritation during the day or noise, straight
Yes.
away practice.
Yes, it has to be done. Because forgiveness will take you into the right mind, it'll give you that peace. And the more you're in the right mind, the more you're going to waken up.
Sorry, Michael, I'm not really getting this. So you're saying that the opposite of gentleness really is justifying bad behaviour in others, thereby justifying it in myself. But that seems to be.
Yeah, gentleness is, all right, the effects of forgiveness. Now you're being gentle with yourself because you're bringing peace into your mind. If you're not applying forgiveness, then you're in denial of your projections, and that's going to cause you harm. You see, all of these work on the opposites.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about justifying bad behaviour, that's.
Where is the bad behavior?
Who is to to decide what's bad behaviour?
You're deciding all the time, of course, because you're the judge.
If I'm calling somebody else's behaviour bad, I mean, I thought we didn't describe stuff as good and bad.
But we do. This is the whole point. I mean, the point, you can't have the persona without having the shadow.
So if I'm justifying somebody's bad behaviour, what am I doing?
Well, what I mean justifying it, you're rationalising, you're saying it's theirs. You're not owning it. You're not taking responsibility for it. You're not saying, this is mine. If I react to it, then it's mine.
It's in me.
It's in me. When I say you're justifying it, that means you're coming up with, this person's, they're homeless.
So,
and this
yeah,
is what
so
they're
if you see something that would generally
and you don't recognise it as your own.
Perceived to be bad behaviour and deciding to overlook it, or you think you're forgiving it. I mean, justifying, it sounds a bit like forgiveness.
Right, okay. All right. You know what, don't get caught up in what I'm saying, justifying. Let's say deny it. Okay, when you deny someone else's bad behaviour is in you, if you react to it, okay, you're denying that it's me. You're not being gentle with yourself. You're causing yourself harm. That's what
Can you give me an example of that? Because as I said, this confused me last week as well.
Okay, all right. Well, when you see someone, say someone's calling me some names, or someone basically slams the door in your face, okay, and you're saying, oh, you're an ignorant bollocks. All right?
Then you're not justifying it, you're criticising it.
You see, I told you, you're denying yourself. You're justifying that their bad behaviour's got to do with them, you know, doing what they're doing.
Separate from you.
Yes.
They're going off.
The reason why you're not getting this, Mary, is because you have denied this part of yourself. You got this last week too. You have a lot of bad behaviour and you keep denying it. And you know that. No levels. No, that's the yes.
The guy slamming the door.
Yeah. Jesus says in the course, right, only the ego has a hierarchy of illusions. Okay, if you're a little bit annoyed, it's the same as being on a full-blown rage. Alright? The ego says it's okay to shoot one person, but don't shoot 100.
So if I take it upon myself to forgive somebody, is that not my ego?
That's causing you harm, because you can't forgive anybody. You can only forgive yourself. Okay? The religion's form of forgiveness is always very harmful for you. There's nothing gentle about it. Okay? Joy is the next one. Okay? Joy in this world will always come from, right, when we get what we want. Just exactly how we want it. We'll be happy. You know, if we get 6 numbers in the lottery, we get that 6-foot blonde that we always dreamed about. I'm talking about you, Elish. Okay? But it's always about, you'll always be really happy when you get everything the way you want it in this world. Okay? True joy means when you're happy for absolutely no reason whatsoever, that you can't rationalize it. Okay?
Pleasure versus joy.
Yeah.
Bliss.
And basically what brings you again to true joy is applying forgiveness. It's the only way that you can go through that door into that bliss in your heart. Okay?
So the only way I can experience joy is to apply forgiveness.
Exactly. When you're not applying forgiveness, you're going to be depressed, you're going to be angry, you're going to be upset, and you are going to suffer. Because in every situation, there's not a day that we go by that we don't have a reaction to somebody or something in this world. And if you don't forgive it, you're going to feel angry, depressed, anxious, or upset at all times. And you're going to blame this person or you're going to blame yourself.
And when you forgive, what happens?
Peace. Works 3 letters. Peace. You can't have joy without peace.
And the next time a similar thing happens, are you less likely to react?
Yes. And if you do even react a wee bit, more forgiveness. Until the day that you don't react. Now you're without judgment on that person means you're without judgment on yourself. You can only react to someone because you've judged them. And because you have judged them should tell you, alright, that you're in the ego thought system and this is where you're at and this is why you're reacting. If you're not in the ego thought system, you won't ever react to anybody.
And then owning it and recognizing it in the shadow, and then it's done.
So if your situation like ISIS and boarding the pilot alive,
yeah,
and you react to that, oh my God, it's horrific.
Yeah.
In what sense then, you know, do you take this forgiveness on board?
Yeah, you have two parts of it here, right? The way to look at it. You can look at this with the ego, and the ego says this is absolutely terrible. You can look at this now as a blessing. Okay, it's a blessing for yourself. Because ISIS represents what to you? Your shadow.
Yeah.
Okay, and if people weren't doing terrible things in the world, okay, then you wouldn't get an opportunity to see your shadow. Okay, this might look like a very cold-hearted way to look at the things, but if you're looking at it the other way, all right, you're always going to feel anger. You're going to be very afraid. Do you know? So everything has to be reinterpreted. The whole world is showing us our unconscious mind.
And what exactly does that show you about your unconscious mind?
It's showing you your shadow. Because what that terrible deed did is a part of what I do to myself every single day. You see, what happens is we project out, okay, all of these horrible thoughts that we're trying to suppress and everything, and then they manifest in different forms. But they're all symbol of the same thing. It's our self-hatred. And we see other people then doing very hateful things and we blame them for them. And what we're really saying is the hatred's not me, that's the hatred. So again, what we're doing is we're taking our own shadow and getting rid of it and saying that's nothing to do with me, denial. We're always in states of denial of our own shadow, of our own self-hatred.
Because if we can recognize, we must know it.
Yeah.
We're capable of it, is that what you're saying?
Yes, of course, because we're doing it to ourselves. I mean, if you're truly honest with yourself here, let's look at ourselves and see everything that we really hate about ourselves. You do know it at some level, if you weren't in constant denial about it. You know, it's about taking ownership for this.
So the only person we have to forgive is ourselves.
Exactly, but that's what forgiveness is. There is, you know, you can't forgive someone else.
But there is no someone else.
But there is, as long as you see them. So, you know, when you look at religion, you know, it's always about forgiving the sinners, the guilty, all the ones, the criminals.
No, but when we say we only have to forgive ourselves, but the self is out, you know.
The part of herself,
yeah,
that is the part of herself that we haven't forgiven. But we'll do this after the break. Then, defenselessness. All right, when you're defensive, you will always be defenseless because you have refused to apply forgiveness. Only the truly defenseless apply forgiveness. So when Jesus was being nailed to the cross, he wasn't defensive in any shape or form. He applied forgiveness. Father, forgive them, they know not what to do. He didn't defend himself. He didn't try to run away. He never once screamed out anything. He was totally defenseless because he applied forgiveness. Anytime that you're in a conversation with anybody and you are acting defensive, you're denying that this person is a part of you, so then you can be bloody sure of one thing. This person is the shadow. We're all very defensive of our shadows. We try to get it away, you know, and we deny it. That's why we're defensive about it. Okay, if you were totally at one with your shadow and with yourself, then you would never be defensive with another person. It's impossible.
And you wouldn't get across them.
Of course,
Sorry
exactly.
for everyone with ourselves.
Yeah,
So when you know in the course it says, in my defenselessness lies my safety.
of course.
So, yeah, could you just say, in my defenselessness lies my safety.
Yes, because again, it goes back to trust. What are you trusting? Are you trusting God or the ego? Okay, when you're trusting the ego, then you're going to have its defenses because the ego needs to be defended. Truth doesn't need to be defended. Truth can stand on its own. It'll be on its own. So if you're telling a lie to someone and you want to convince that person that it's the truth, you're going to be defensive when they say this is not the truth. That's the ego. The ego must be defended because it's nothing. The truth is everything and knows that there is nothing else outside truth, so it doesn't need any defenses. There's no barriers around it.
There's nothing to defend against.
Exactly. But the ego, being nothing, puts a wall around itself and it needs to defend this identity and idea that it is. Okay? So we're always going to defend what more than anything else? What's the thing that we cherish more than anything else? Come on. Who said that? Persona? Yes. We aspire to a persona. And we're going to defend it. This is who I am. This is who I really am. And that means the way we defend the persona is we deny the shadow. Okay, so when you're defending yourself, you're always defending an image that you hold of yourself. And that image that you hold of yourself is your persona. This is who I want to be. I don't want to be who God created me. I don't want to be spirit. I want to be this image that I'm making up as I go along. That's what the persona is.
Michael, court case. It's completely ego then. Lawyers and defense and everything.
Of course. Of course. That's just a symbol of the ego defenses anyway. And look at the justice. You know, one person's being guilty and this person's innocent, the whole thing. One person's the shadow and the other person's persona. That's all around us. This whole concept that I'm talking about, this here, it's all around us everywhere. Here's the judge, here's the defendant, and here's the plaintiff.
But someone going in to confess you've got good character.
You know, personas are always going to pick the people who, you know, these are the people who are going to defend me in court. You know.
Yeah, oh, he's always honest.
Yeah, you know. So, listen, let's move on. Generosity, I'm going to go quickly through these. Like I say, I'll email these out to people who want them. Only the truly generous, again, apply forgiveness. If you're not being generous, you can only be generous to yourself. Okay? You can only be kind to yourself. You can only be tolerant to yourself. You can only really not cause yourself harm. Okay? So when you're not applying forgiveness, you're being mean to yourself. Patience. Okay? It's a bit like tolerance. You can only be impatient when you're not assured of the outcome. And the advanced teacher of God is always assured of the outcome, and this is why they can be wholly patient. And what brings you to that patient state of mind? Forgiveness. And then faithfulness. All right? You're either faithful to the ego or you're faithful to God. That's it. Now, faithlessness is when you're putting your faith in the ego, because the ego is nothing. So now you're putting your faith into nothing. That's why it's faithless. Yeah?
Faithless is
To be faithful to yourself is to put your faith into forgiveness. So you see the underlying cause, even at the advanced teacher of God at this level. All right? Everything comes to one thing. What? Everything that I've discussed there has one cord running through it. Forgiveness. At this level, forgiveness brings you to here. The repeated forgiveness lessons here, you will forget, and you come down, you'll go up, you'll forget. But ultimately, when you're banging, say, 10 out of 10 in a row like that all the time, that's what will bring you to there. Because when you're here, all right, forgiveness is the central theme in your life. Everything. All of these characteristics and traits. And the very last one here then is open-mindedness. And only the truly open-minded can live at this level. Why?
It's without judgment.
Yes. You're without judgment. But also you're beyond beliefs. And that means you could be in a room, you could have a Jewish person, you could have a Muslim, you could have a Protestant, a Catholic, you know, all the different religions. And if you have a problem with any one of those belief systems that anybody holds, it's impossible that you can be at this level. Be all things to all men. If you look at the teachings of Jesus, he cast no one out. He brought everybody into it. You know, he didn't let a single belief that anybody held separate him from them.
So what is that one again?
Open-mindedness. A closed mind will only be closed through their beliefs. So at this level, you're beyond beliefs and you're without judgments. As long as you hold judgments, you must hold beliefs. As long as you hold beliefs, you must hold judgments. So it's about transcending, okay, all beliefs. Because beliefs divide and separate each and every one of them. There's 25,000 different religions, all with a different set of beliefs. And that means, look at all those groups of people that follow these religions, to separate themselves from everybody else, to fragment the whole world. So everybody now has their own little corner of the world. This mind here incorporates the entire world and everybody in it. Yeah?
I think we need to carry a mirror around with us all the time. And every time we get a top, go, yeah, that's you.
any tool that you need, Marie. You know, at the end of the day. Most people who are doing A Course in Miracles believe that they only have to deal with the special hits in their lives. Okay? So what Jesus is saying in the Course, you know, right at the beginning of the Course, he's saying, don't set me up on a pedestal. Awe is not needed for me. Alright? Treat me with respect as an elder brother. So what he's really saying is, don't put me up on a pedestal, because when you put one person up on a pedestal, you're separating that person from everybody else. So you're creating a persona of Jesus, and you're also creating a shadow. Because you can't have a persona without a shadow. And as long as you hold a persona, which is the special loves, you're also keeping the special hits. Okay, so as long you can keep applying forgiveness every day with your shadow, okay? But if you don't look at the persona, which is your special loves, all right, you're going to be creating more and more shadows around all the time. Both the persona and the shadow must be forgiven, not just one. So the people that we hold dearest to us in our lives, as long as we hold that special relationship with them, which is the special love, we're going to have the special hate alongside it. Because you can't have a special hate if there's no special love. Okay? So as long, what makes a special love is there are people that you hate. And what makes a special hate is that there's someone you love. Okay? It's cause and effect to both.
And what do you say then you should do with people that you have special?
Forgive.
So did you say that's making an idol, is it, of Jesus?
Of course.
Yeah,
And we
so I
make,
was just wondering if that, I don't know if that was the word you used.
yes, we're making idols out of everybody who we hold dear as a special love. And as long as you're holding someone as a special love, then you're separating, you're making a special hate. So the special love makes the special hate.
Special love
I
makes
understand
special
all that,
hate.
but what you're saying you should do with your special hates, you should forgive.
Right.
What do you do with your special love?
Forgive. Because you should recognize that this is a part of yourself that you love. And because you love it only this part of yourself, there's another part of yourself that you're hitting. Remember, the two groups of people outside of ourselves represent our own separated self. So as long as you're seeing a part of yourself that you love, you're going to see a part of yourself that you hate. The whole point of this and what Jesus' demonstration was that he loved everybody the same. He didn't set anybody out more special than anybody else.
You don't have to change your treatment of anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Never. It's only about what you think. All right? And this is reversed also. So Jesus says our perception is actually reversed in the world. So what that means is, right, we're projecting all the time. And we're either projecting out our special loves or our special hates. But we're not aware of that. So here's why it's reversed. Now, maybe you say something or you do something. All right? That's my first awareness of you saying or doing something. And I don't like it. Now, what I say is the reason why I react to you is just because what you said. Okay? That's not the cause. The cause, which is reversed, is that there's a part of me I don't like. I'm projecting it out, and I'm projecting it on to Niall before he says or does anything. But we're never aware of that part of ourselves that's happening. So now he either says or does something, and I react to that. Totally oblivious to I have already projected this onto it. And it's the same then with our special loves. There's a part of me I love. And then someone says something lovely to me, and it makes me feel good, or treats me in a special way, and I feel really good. And now I love this person just because what they have just said or done to me.
Is that how we attract partners?
Exactly. You see, what we're doing here is we're projecting all the time, either love or hate. But we're not aware of this part. It's coming from our unconscious, it's coming from inside us. Okay? And the only thing that we're aware of then is the action, we either see the hate or the love taking part. So we all love to love the part of ourselves that we love, and we all love to hate the part of ourselves that we hate. So we're always creating two types of people in the world. We either love them or hate them, which is a reflection of that separated self here. Okay? These are the people that we love. These are the people that we hate. Both are being projected out all of the time.
Should we not be extending love rather than projecting it?
How do you extend love?
Oh, sure.
Forgiveness. We just went through it. The characteristics of the teacher of God tell us exactly there's only one form of love in this world, and it's forgiveness. It's the reflection of the love of heaven, because it's unconditional. We did this in the last group. Every other form of love is all on levels. It's all on degrees. We have love for our family, we have love for our partners, we have love for our friends. So we have a different value on all of those loves.
We love them because of this, and we love them because
Well,
of that.
well, we're family, we have to love them. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so, you know, we even feel trapped with that. Like, we love to hate them, but we deny that. You know, it's not right if you hate your family, like, because they're your blood and all this. You know, so we feel obliged, you know, to love our family.
Yeah.
And that's not love. Love is freedom.
So
It's
does that
unconditional.
encompass forgiveness, that unconditional love?
Of course it does. That's what forgiveness, because it treats everybody the same. You see, forgiveness must be complete. It must include everybody. That's why it's a reflection of the love of heaven. If you're only forgiving certain people for certain things, then that's religion, that's the ego's form of forgiveness, because it's still separating people.
And then Michael, you know, the call for love.
Yeah, we're going to do this now, okay? We're going to move into ATF, all right? So everybody get that. Not only must you forgive the special loves, the special hates, you must forgive the special loves. Because as long as you have a special love, you're also creating a special hate. Because the special hates are the effects of the special love.
So you actively have to start forgiving rather than waiting for irritations or annoyances. Do you start actively seeking your loves?
Well, you recognize them already. You have them. You see, everybody knows. You see certain people in your life, and these people that you see differently to everybody else. So you're reinforcing separation outside yourself. This is why Jesus says in the Course that the special love is the most difficult of all to comprehend, because we are under the illusion of what love is. Okay? What we perceive love to be is not love, it's secretly hate. It's really guilt. You know, we'll love people as long as, you know, they say the right things and do the right things and make us feel the right way. Like, i.e. relationships. Okay? But then when that person doesn't do that anymore, we hate them.
I love my mother because she makes me dinner, and my dinner's like, what do you mean?
Of course. Of course. You know, it's that love. You know, you should be loving your mother if she could print you out your dinner and it's not even cooked. Yeah. Seriously. You know, because it's all lesson, it's all showing us. I mean, you know, ultimately, the persona in the shadow is always still in the same people. Why? Because it's still in me. And as long as it's in me, I'm projecting that on, and I can project it onto this person or that person. Okay? But ultimately, even the people I project the persona onto, I'm projecting the shadow onto them too. But I'm denying the shadow in myself, so I deny the shadow in them. But the shadow will appear then when they don't treat me the way that I want them to do. Because say this person is really, you know, honest, and you know, they make me feel so good, and everything they say and do is really honest. Then I all of a sudden start to be dishonest. I'm going to hate them for that then, which is really hating that part of myself. You know? So we have people, you'll find the persona and the shadows never far away. So as long as we're denying the shadow in ourselves, we're creating a persona. As long as we're denying the persona in ourselves, we're creating a shadow.
And we're all doing it.
All of the time. This is what Jesus calls the Course in Miscreation. And what we're creating is special loves and special hates all the time, which is only reinforcing of what is inside us. And this is the separated self that's inside us. The way that we bring this together is we bring all these people together and see no differences in anybody. So what you must do now is you must look and be very vigilant for all the people that you think that we love. And we're going to go through what's called ATF.